Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews. Have you ever wondered what games you should sell or you should use? Find out here at Purge Reviews. Find out on our top 10 list what games you cannot miss. Don't forget to subscribe to Purge.
So I'm playing King's Forge with the board. Otherwise, you would have these dock cards that come out. These are really hard cardboard, really nice. But on the board, they're situated right here. So I'm going to place these on top of it just to show you what you're likely to get in the original box. Yours isn't going to come with the board. You just use your table and you'll have these cardboard things that you'll utilize the dice. What you're going to have here in the middle, these are the cards that you're going to kind of draft each round. And they're all going to have different unique powers. This one says give up 2 dice permanently, put 2 dice on here, and you get a blue die. This one is put a red die, red or blue, any die, and you get a blue die. And each one has a top or the bottom, so you could utilize it to get the blue die, or just get +1 to a die. Get a free black die, or permanently give up 7 dice, and you get a blue and a red in your hand. Now the trick of the game is that when you purchase these cards, normally they're going to go on your smithy, which means they get placed right on top of here, and they're not usable until next round. Every once in a while, you'll see something here with a symbol with a hand marker, and that means it goes directly into your hand. That's very powerful. So let me give you an example here. So you could go here and give up 3 permanent red ones and get a red, and 4 to get a blue, which is 7 of any color dice. Or if you get this card and you have 7, you get a blue and a red, but it's more powerful that goes into your hand if the cards you're trying to get require blue and red. So any game you play, you will only use a number of these based on the number of players, and that's all that you'll use. So each game will be different, and they'll be in this stack, and you'll have 4 out that you'll be drafting from. And you'll have 3 things that you'll be utilizing at the end of the round you'll be trying to roll the dice to get. So I'll show you how that kind of works. During the game of King's Forge, you can get dice in one of the 6 different colors. Metal being the most common, then wood, then gem, then magic. And library and cemetery usually do like weird things on the dice. So those will be the dice that you can get. When you start the game, you're going to start the game with a number of dice that you'll be able to utilize to do whatever you want on the board. So when it's your turn, you can draft one of these 4 cards, or you can take one of the actions at the dock. Now these will all be actions to give you more dice. This third one will give you an option to get a token that gives you +1 to 2 dice. The bottom one requires 2 permanent dice given away, which gives you an automatic 6, and 3 dice to be taken away to get an automatic 6. So if you wanted to take that, you would put 2 dice here, you would take the marker, and then nobody else could take that spot for the round. You would have it. The marker you get for the round would be this nice wooden token. Now, what's beauty of this is this allows you to turn any of your dice into an automatic 6 when you're trying to collect these at the end of the round. If you utilize one of these positions, you will also take one of these cards and discard it for the round and draw a new one for the next person to utilize. Instead of taking one of these dock actions, you can also take one of these cards and you can utilize it. Now each card will give you a power at the top. In this case, put any 2 dice here for the round and you get a green dice. So you take the green die, if it has just a die there, then it would go on top of your smithy, this little thing that you have with your crest, and you can't use it until next round. The 2 dice that you also put on here would be unusable until next round. Or I could put 1 die here, and I could raise, when we go to get these cards, I can raise each of them up by 1. I can raise 3 dice, a maximum of 3 dice, up by 1. So I'm going to take this die. What I would do is take any one of my dice, and I would put my die on it. So far I have an automatic 6 and 3 1s. And then we would do this. And this would continue until everybody passes or there are no more black cards up here. Keeping in mind, once again, every time you take a dock action, you do have to discard a card from the stack and put a new one out, creating the timeline and pushing towards the end of the round. Once everybody's done, any dice they haven't used for the round can then be rolled to try to obtain one of these cards. Let me show you how these cards work. I would need 2 black dice with at least 5 and 2 red dice with at least 4. because I kind of set the cards up weirdly, you can see here, this requires green and blue and black and blue. So at this point, I didn't have any of these, but if I had those dice, I could roll it. And if I rolled it at least that high, then I would obtain the card. So that's where this automatic 6 would come in. Because if I rolled a 2 on one of my black die, this automatic 6, I just turn it over, and now I have 2 6s, but I've used this token. Whether I use this token or not, I do have to give it back up. It's only for the current round. Now remember, if I had additional dice, I can utilize this at the bottom to raise each one by 1. So let's just say there's 2 6s. I could raise up to 3, and I have 2. I could raise them to 7s now. And that's important because the round that you buy these cards, other people, if they roll higher, can attempt to take them from you. Once the round ends, they are yours forever. You win the game if you get a number of these, 4. First person to get 4 of these cards wins the game. Now the trick to the game is such, is that when I'm utilizing these cards, I'm also spending my die for the round. And when I spend these die for the round, I cannot roll them to obtain the cards that I need. So you need to hold some of your cards back, or you need to hold back some of your die in order to be able to roll for this at the end of the round. Some of the cards will help you. There's a lot of mitigating of the rolling of the dice that we utilize, but keeping your focus on what's coming down the pike by looking up ahead will be very, very important to know what kind of dice you need to have in the future and really what you need for this round. Because you can get all 3 of these cards if you have the correct rolling die combinations. Keeping in mind, each die can only be used for 1 card. So that's how you play King's Ridge. The first person to 4 of these cards up here wins the game. I would like to point out that the artwork is just beautiful on this box. It's also shared with the rule book. And once you jump into the rule book, there are plenty of pictures and examples, and it shows you how to play the game. And this book does a wonderful job of teaching. It does come with a beautiful anvil to showcase your first player marker, and you'll pass this around the board to show the first player. This is an outstanding piece. It's really heavy and very substantial. There is a cheap insert that comes with it, but once you build these tuck boxes that come to hold the dice, these are flat when it's shipped to you, but once you build them, the insert is no longer going to fit in here. So when you have your box, you'll need to get rid of the insert or store it otherwise in order to fit everything in. If you can fit everything in here with the insert, then you, my friend, are a magician. King's Forge is a game that Dylan introduced me to that he got off Kickstarter. Now, I don't normally like these type of games. I've played a lot of these where you kind of roll the dice and you see if you match up. This one has a lot more going on. You draft the cards, but it's the same cards you're drafting. You use it for 1 round and you put it back in based on your needs and what dice you have and what you want to utilize. And you get your dice ready for this crafting phase that you will roll, and hopefully you got some ways to mitigate them, but it's your decision to get the cards that mitigate the dice, or if you want to get the cards that give you more dice, or give you powers, or allow you to do things. It's your decisions on how you're going to do that. And that's really neat, because when I get to the craft stage, where I'm rolling for the victory points, the cards that you need to win the game, I've made the decisions on how I want to mitigate the dice. I've made those decisions on how I want to roll the dice, how many dice I want to roll, how I'm going to roll the dice, how those dice are going to be manipulated. I've made all those decisions based on the drafting mechanism. Fantastic. This game is really good. Because it's a Kickstarter-only game, I don't know that it gets the pub or the public publicity that it deserves, because this game is really, really good. I would say probably, I play this with people who don't play a lot of games, and they've been able to pick it up very easily. There were some questions after the first round about the drafting and how that works, and the card's going back, and I don't get to keep this card forever, even though I drafted it. I picked this card. I have to give it back after the end of the round. That was new to some people. Now, if you're a gamer, you've seen this all before. Those that are new to gaming may not have seen things like where you draft a card and use it this turn, and now I have to give it back. Some people were really confused like that. What do you mean? I took this card. Why do I have to give it back? I want this card for the rest of the game. That took a little getting used to. For a couple rounds, that was forgotten, and they were in the groove of the game. So that might be a little stepping stone. And that seems simple, but for non-gamers who have never seen that before, that's new. So you want to make sure that you explain that and they get used to that. Rolling the dice, I mean, you're going to be mercy at the dice at the end of this game. You're going to be rolling the dice hoping to get enough. but it was your decision on how to mitigate that dice. So if you're not mitigating your dice and you're just going for just luck, well, that was on you because the cards were there to mitigate it. There were cards there to switch the dice and do things around. And if you chose not to pick those cards and you chose to do other things, well, that was a choice that you made. That's not luck or random. That's a literal choice that you made because most of the cards, if not all of them, have a way to manipulate the dice. You need certain dice when you get to the craft stage. You might need a blue and a red. So you look around and you're like, oh, nobody can do it this turn. Because when you get a die, it goes into on your smithy and you don't get it to the next round. There are a few cards, and they can get very expensive, that allow you to put it directly into your hand where you get exactly what you need. King's Forge gives you a lot of options. It throws a few things at you. There's a lot of variety in the cards because you only use a certain amount each game. There are quite a few expansions that add, little expansions that added quite a bit to this game. This is a really fun game. I'm afraid this game was missed out because it's a Kickstarter only game that people don't know about this. This is one you should search out. This one is really good. It's a definite keeper for me. I think I'm going to keep this one around for a very long time. There's a lot of flexibility in it. A lot of people can play this. A lot of people understand it. Now, the dwarf theme, it's really not in the game that much, I'll be honest. It's barely there. Really, I just see dice. There's names for the dice like the blackest metal and this and that. I don't know that comes through too much in the game. The theme isn't very heavy. But the game is a world of fun. Highly recommend this game. King's Forge is one that you should definitely search out. Definite keep. Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you liked it, please like it and hit that little subscribe button. That really helps out the channel. Lets us know that you're getting the videos that you want. If you agreed or disagree with what I said, feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and I promise that I will comment back. Thanks for watching, and everybody else, keep playing games.